Somewhere right now, someone is standing in a cold plunge tub in their garage at 6 in the morning, teeth chattering, genuinely believing this single habit might add years to their life, while a doctor 2,000 miles away is quietly prescribing a drug originally developed to stop organ transplant rejection to a healthy 60-year-old, entirely off-label for the exact same reason. Welcome to the strange, fascinating world of modern longevity science. By the end of this video you will know which of these popular biohacks, NMN, Rapamycin, cold exposure, and sauna, actually have real human evidence behind them in 2026, and which ones are still running years ahead of the data. Quick ask. If this kind of honest, deeply researched breakdown is useful to you, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which longevity trend you are most curious about or most skeptical of. It genuinely shapes what I dig into next. Let's get into it. The science beneath the trend. Before we get into individual biohacks, it helps to understand the actual concept driving almost everything in this space, because it explains why so many wellness routines suddenly started referencing cellular biology instead of just calories and cardio. Modern longevity research, often associated with researchers and podcasters like Andrew Huberman and Peter Attia, is largely built around the idea of healthspan rather than just lifespan, the number of years you remain functional, energetic, and disease-free, not simply the number of years your heart keeps beating. Underneath that idea sit a handful of biological processes researchers keep circling back to: cellular energy production, chronic low-grade inflammation, and a cellular growth pathway called mTOR that essentially tells your cells when to grow and divide versus when to slow down and repair themselves. Picture your cells like a factory that never gets scheduled downtime for maintenance. Growth signals keep firing, and the machinery slowly wears down faster than it can repair itself. Nearly every intervention in this video is, in some way, an attempt to intentionally interrupt that non-stop growth signal and force in a maintenance window instead. Understanding that single thread makes the rest of this conversation click into place much faster. NMN and the NAD question. Let's start with the supplement that has become almost synonymous with biohacking itself. NMN, short for nicotinamide mononucleotide. Here is the biological logic behind the hype. NMN is a precursor to a molecule called NAD+, which every single cell in your body needs for energy production and DNA repair, and NAD+ levels reliably decline as we age. The theory is straightforward: replenish the raw material and you support the machinery. In January 2026, a human trial published in Nature Metabolism directly compared 3 different NAD-boosting compounds and found something genuinely useful. NMN and a related compound called NR both roughly doubled circulating NAD+ levels in humans after just 14 days, while a third, more basic compound did not produce the same sustained effect. That is a real, measurable, mechanistic win. NMN does appear to do something specific inside a living human body, not just in a petri dish. Here is where the honest caveat becomes essential, and where a lot of supplement marketing quietly changes the subject. A 2026 review of human clinical trials describes the current evidence as showing modest metabolic and vascular benefits with a strong short-term safety profile, but concludes that evidence for actual lifespan extension in humans remains inconclusive. Read that distinction carefully. Raising a biomarker is not the same as proving someone will live longer or healthier as a result. Most trials remain small, short, and very widely in design, and researchers explicitly caution that an effect on NAD+ levels is not the same as a proven anti-aging effect. So the honest verdict on NMN in 2026: it does something real and measurable in the body, the mechanism is sound, and short-term safety looks reassuring. What it has not yet done is prove, in a rigorous human trial, that it actually extends healthy human life. This is general information, not personal medical advice, and supplement quality varies enormously in an industry with loose regulation, so third-party testing matters if you are considering it. Rapamycin, the drug borrowed from organ transplants. Now for the intervention that tends to surprise people the most once they learn where it actually comes from. Rapamycin is an FDA-approved drug, but for preventing organ rejection after transplant surgery and treating certain cancers, not for longevity. Its use for aging is entirely off-label, meaning doctors can prescribe it at their own discretion, but no regulatory body has approved it specifically for this purpose. Here is why the longevity world is so fixated on it anyway. Rapamycin directly targets that same mTOR growth pathway we just talked about, and in landmark animal research conducted by the National Institute on Aging's Interventions Testing Program, considered the gold standard in this field, rapamycin extended median lifespan in mice by 9% in males and 14% in females, even when the drug was started at an age roughly equivalent to 60 years old in human terms. That finding has been independently replicated across multiple research sites, making rapamycin, as of 2026, the most robustly repeated lifespan extending compound ever tested in mammals. Here is the crucial word in that sentence. Mammals. Not yet humans, at least not for actual lifespan. In 2025, results were published from the Pearl trial, a crowd-funded, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, the longest-running human trial of low-dose rapamycin for healthy aging conducted to date. Over 48 weeks, participants aged 50 to 85 took either 5 mg, 10 mg, or a placebo weekly. The results showed the drug was well tolerated, with serious and non-serious side effects occurring at similar rates to placebo, and researchers observed improvements in lean muscle mass in women specifically, along with some reduction in reported pain. That is genuinely encouraging safety and health span data. Here is the honest limitation researchers themselves are explicit about. No published human trial has yet demonstrated actual lifespan extension using rapamycin, and no study has used all-cause mortality as its primary measured outcome in a healthy population. Independent analysis in 2026 describes the current evidence tier for rapamycin as moderate, not strong, precisely because that phase 3 human longevity data simply does not exist yet. Doctors prescribing it off-label for longevity today are making a reasonable, evidence-informed extrapolation from extremely strong animal data and promising early human safety signals, but that is still an extrapolation, not a proven human outcome. This is general information, not personal medical advice, and any use of a prescription medication for an off-label purpose absolutely requires direct medical supervision, not a self-directed experiment. Cold exposure and sauna, two very different evidence stories. Now let's talk about the two interventions almost everyone can actually try today without a prescription, and here the evidence quality genuinely diverges more than most content admits. Let's start with sauna because this is where the human evidence is the strongest in this entire video. The Kuopio Ischemic Heart Disease Study, an extensive Finnish research project following over 2,000 middle-aged men for 2 decades, found that frequent sauna use was associated with substantially reduced risk of fatal cardiovascular disease and lower all-cause mortality, with the most frequent users, 4 to 7 sessions weekly, showing the largest reduction. That is not a small short-term pilot study. That is 2 decades of tracked, real human outcomes. The proposed mechanism makes physiological sense too. Heat exposure triggers cardiovascular conditioning similar to moderate exercise, activates heat shock proteins involved in cellular repair, and researchers describe the physical stress of sauna as a form of hormesis, a controlled, beneficial stressor your body adapts to and becomes more resilient from, the same broad category exercise itself belongs to. Cold exposure tells a more mixed story, and this is exactly where the honest nuance matters most. Cold plunging genuinely does trigger real physiological responses, a surge in norepinephrine, activation of brown fat tissue, and what researchers call cold shock proteins linked to reduced inflammation. But the specific, dedicated, long-term mortality data behind cold exposure alone is considerably thinner than what exists for sauna, and much of the cold exposure research gets discussed alongside sauna studies rather than standing entirely on its own separate evidence base. There is also a genuinely interesting wrinkle worth knowing if building muscle matters to you. Some research and expert commentary, including from Andrew Huberman specifically, suggests that jumping into cold water immediately after a strength workout may blunt the muscle-building response researchers are trying to achieve, since the anti-inflammatory effect of cold exposure can interfere with the very inflammatory signaling that helps trigger initial muscle repair and growth. If longevity alone is the goal, timing may matter less. If muscle growth matters too, ending your session with heat rather than cold appears to be the more evidence-aligned choice. So the honest verdict here, sauna carries genuinely strong long-term human mortality data behind it. Cold exposure has real, interesting physiology and plausible benefits, but noticeably thinner direct longevity evidence in comparison, despite the two often being marketed as an interchangeable package deal. Bringing it all together. So here is where all of this actually lands once the noise gets cleared away. NMN measurably raises NAD+ in the human body, a real and interesting finding, but proof of actual lifespan extension in humans is still missing. Rapamycin carries the strongest, most repeatedly validated animal data of any compound in this entire field, and encouraging early human safety and health span signals, but real human longevity data does not exist yet, and any use remains a genuine medical decision, not a casual purchase. Sauna sits on the strongest human evidence foundation of everything covered today, backed by 2 decades of tracked outcomes. And cold exposure offers compelling biology with a thinner, less settled evidence base than its popularity online might suggest. The honest theme running through this entire space in 2026 is this: longevity science is moving forward quickly and genuinely, but the excitement around it has consistently outpaced the actual proof, and the responsible way to engage with any of it is holding real curiosity alongside real patience, not mistaking a promising mechanism for a guaranteed result. If this gave you a clearer, more honest map of the longevity world, subscribe, because we are going to keep pulling apart the biohacking claims everyone repeats but almost nobody actually explains properly. I will see you in the next one.